Hi everyone and welcome back to Perima's Kitchen. I am Selena and today I'm making the ultimate prawn biryani. My method may differ, but what I try to ensure is that the prawn flavor permeates throughout your prawn biryani. Let's get to it. First, the base of our biryani is our basmati rice and our Masoor Dhal, which is our lentils. I've added a couple of cardamon pods, a cinnamon stick and some bay leaves to my rice. I'm using 2.5 cups of long-grained basmati rice from Nagiah's. I'm now adding half a teaspoon of turmeric, followed by a quarter teaspoon of turmeric for my lentils. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I love to enhance the flavor of my Masoor Dhal. I'm adding some thyme. I will add a little bit of mint just now. I'm also adding salt to taste to both pots, and a few mint leaves. I'm going to top up with boiling water and let that cook for approximately 20 to 25 minutes until it's done. This includes your rice. Try to boil it until it's almost done. So while these two pots are on the stove, we're going to start with our prawn base. I have a kg of prawns that's cleaned and deveined. I've added a teaspoon of crushed garlic, half a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of Kashmiri Chilli powder, a teaspoon of roasted Dhania powder, that's our coriander, and salt to taste. Mix and set it aside. We're going to start frying it in a tablespoon of butter. Once your butter starts to melt, add your marinated prawns. If you've got lemon juice, you can add a squeeze of lemon juice as well. And we want to start frying our prawns, but for only 2 minutes on each side. I'm now ready to flip my prawns and fry it for another 2 minutes on the other side. And once it's done, start removing just your prawns. Leave all that residue behind. Once you've removed all of your prawns, take 2 prawns which maybe didn't keep their ideal shape or maybe smaller than the rest, and dice them up and add them to the rest of that residue on your pan, like so. I'm going to now set my prawns aside to rest, and while it's resting, to the prawn residue on my pan, I'm adding a touch of oil. This prevents the butter from burning. And this intense flavor is going to be added to our biryani base. We're going to set it aside and I'm going to move on to the potatoes. If you've watched my previous videos, you know I love steaming my potatoes first with a little bit of thyme or mint and then roast it for about 15 minutes. That method really does enhance the flavor of your potato. Today I'm roasting it with some salt, egg yellow coloring, and I will pop it into the oven for approximately 30 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. If you're not using up-to-date potatoes, please pierce your potatoes first. The base of a prawn biryani is predominantly tomato. You can use approximately 6 to 8 tomatoes in total, and you can grate or blend your tomatoes. I've added 2 to my blending cup, a handful of mint and a handful of coriander. And we're going to blend this together. And it only needs a few seconds. Proceed to blend the rest of your tomatoes and set it aside. Again, don't over blend. It only needs a few seconds. Next, I've added less than a quarter cup of oil to my pot together with cinnamon, Star-Anise, bay leaves, thyme and fresh curry leaves. I'm now adding my onions and some chilies. Saute it in your oil until it's translucent, and then we can add our ground spices. A teaspoon of cumin, that's our Jeera powder, a teaspoon of coriander, that's our Dhania powder, a leveled teaspoon of turmeric powder, followed by 3 tablespoons of Nagiah's everyday masala, two tablespoons of Kashmiri Chilli powder, and you can decide if you want a mild or a hot flavor, followed by a teaspoon of biryani mix and a quarter teaspoon of ilachi powder, that's our cardamom. So I haven't added any whole cardamoms, so no surprises in our biryani today. Well, apart from your basmati rice, I have added a few cardamon pods to my basmati rice. So while you're layering, if you find it, kindly remove it. I added less oil intentionally. I will add more later. So if it feels a bit dry, just wait. We're going to first add all of the prawn mixture. Remember, we added oil to our prawn mixture as well as there's butter in it. After we've added the mixture, we can then decide, or better able to judge how much of oil we need. So I've only added a little bit of oil, and I'm now ready to add my tomato mixtures. First, my tomato with the coriander and mint, and then followed by the rest of the tomatoes. Give everything a slight mix, and then we can add a teaspoon of sugar to help balance the acidity in our tomatoes, and add a little bit of salt to taste. Again, you only need a dash of salt because your rice, lentils and prawns already have salt in it. We now want it to simmer for approximately 10 minutes, and while it's simmering, please drain your rice and lentils. After 10 minutes, the oil starts to rise, which means I'm now ready to add my lentils, which I've already drained. I'm going to add a couple of heaped spoons of lentils, so maybe half of my lentils. The rest of it will go into the rice. Lentils also have this amazing ability to absorb flavors, so it's going to absorb all of that prawn flavor. And we don't want to add too much of lentils because it can also absorb too much of gravy, and we want to still keep it quite moist. I'm now adding all my prawns with all the juices inside. Now turn down your heat and let it simmer on a very, very low heat. And it doesn't need long at all, approximately 5 minutes. And while our prawns are simmering, we're going to get our rice ready. Add a few heaped spoonfuls of rice to a separate bowl. And then you can add the balance of your Masoor Dhal, your lentils, to your rice. And give it a very slight mix. Next, you can add 2 to 3 teaspoons of egg yellow coloring to your plain rice. You can even use saffron if you want. And once you're done, we're going to use our colored rice towards the end to add to the presentation and the aesthetics of our biryani. Now let's start layering. Make sure your prawns are switched off, and then add half of your rice to the base of your pot. Followed by half to 3/4 of your pot of prawns. And then you can sprinkle with some fresh mint or coriander if you wish. Don't add too much because remember it's already added into your tomato mixture. Continue to layer with rice as well as the balance of your prawns. Next, you can add your roasted potatoes, and if you want to keep some of your large prawns for the top of your pot for presentation, you can go ahead and do that. Once you've added all of your roasted potatoes, you can then sprinkle with some colored rice. And melt 2 tablespoons of butter, which you can then drizzle on the top of your biryani. We are now going to let it steam for about 5 to 10 minutes, not long at all. And there you go, a pot of flavoursome prawn biryani. The taste was sensational. And what I love about this method is that the prawn flavors permeate throughout your entire biryani, your rice, your lentils. It's not only in the prawn itself. The roast potatoes complement the dish perfectly. Add a crisp garden salad to your table and you have the most satisfying plate of food. As usual, all the ingredients used will be found in the drop-down description below. Please subscribe. Kindly hit the notification bell so you are notified when a new video is uploaded. Please like and share, and your comments are always welcome. See you again soon in Perima's Kitchen. I am Selena.